Hello everyone, it's Precious Pioneer and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about overstimulation and creative overwhelm. And so I think the question is, does social media stunt our creativity? And honestly, I think in many ways it kind of does. This past year during quarantine, I had the luxury and the privilege to be able to experiment and try a whole bunch of different things to test my creativity in many different elements and mediums, and I kind of just tried a little bit of everything to see what worked for me and what motivated me, what drive me, what to do when I'm in a rut or when I'm unmotivated and I don't feel like doing anything. And though I think that this year is kind of different than the other years I've had prior, because of just the emotional up and downs that comes with a pandemic, I think these are the things that kind of stuck with me. And I think that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. And so taking a moment to look at what social media actually is, I think long story short, to make things really simple for the creators out there, is that when you are looking and scrolling through social media or watching YouTube videos or whatever it is, the key difference is that you are consuming content versus creating content. And so that within itself will prohibit you, because instead of actively participating in the creative process, you're actually on the outside consuming somebody else's work. And so though you can justify it and say that you scroll through Instagram or you watch YouTube videos to get inspired about what kind of content you want to create, or whether you're an artist and you're just studying and looking through other people's work, I think that it can be very motivating in some aspect, but on the other end, really, it's very difficult to consume a lot of different content and a lot of people you look up to or different mediums, whatever it pertains to you specifically, without mirroring their work. And I think that they say that a lot with YouTube videos, specifically, that if you want to become a YouTuber and you start watching a bunch of your favorite YouTubers, you kind of create videos when you're first starting out that is a modge podge of the people that you watch. And so binging, when you're trying to find your own originality and you're trying to create something of your own that is your own concoction of what you really like to do, it's very difficult to pull that creativity within yourself when you watch so much social media. And I think that's kind of the downside of when it comes to creativity. And I think I came up with this idea because, I'm not the first person to come up with it, but I think I had this revelation of I think social media does kind of inhibit our creativity, because we have that success syndrome of where we feel like we actually, when you feel like you've been super productive or you feel like you've accomplished something just by watching a whole bunch of other people do that same thing, but you didn't do any of it. You're just getting some of that dopamine or some of that energy or some of that motivation or whatever it may be from watching and consuming that sort of media. And so I think that when you take time to isolate yourself and figure out what you want to do and what you want to create, that is the best way to kind of get that creativity flowing. And that is not something you can do by just diving yourself into social media. I just think that overall it's really hard to create something original when you're constantly being overstimulated or bombarded with a whole bunch of different things all at once. And it's a distraction from the creative process that we're trying to get into. I have a lot of personal development videos, and so I know that we're tackling procrastination. We're trying to find our authentic selves and to just go into this new year constantly growing and evolving into the person we want to be. But I feel like to create from that place, it has to come from within yourself. It really can't come from all these outside sources. Social media is known to cause a high dopamine level, feel good energy. It's designed to suck us into this vortex to be able to just give us a lot of content that we enjoy consuming. I think social media really is just designed to distract us from where we need to go. And I don't know, I feel like when we have all these goals, we want to get from point A to point B, not necessarily as quickly as possible, but efficiently. We don't want to take a whole bunch of detours, because at the end of the day, we may not ever reach that goal if we don't plan strategically. And I think that's where it can kind of be at fault if you use it to take up a lot of your time and you're constantly distracted. It can be really overwhelming if our habits rely on it. During this year, when I was working through the creative process, I know that you're supposed to write it down so you don't miss anything, and it kind of reduces your overwhelm because you know exactly what you need to do. But while doing that, I realized that watching countless YouTube videos, whether that be to learn, to be motivated, wasn't really helping me in the long long run, because it got to a certain point where I was just watching them to fill up the time, you know? It's like when they say like to become a good videographer or photographer, like it's not all about gear, but you can distract yourself by studying the latest lenses and the lens filters and a microphone and lighting and all these different things. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to creativity, you just have to create. That's the bottom line. And when I first started making YouTube videos, I think that I just got so sucked into what do I need to do? What are the analytics? What title cards should I have? And though that's important, it is important to kind of know just the basics. It becomes a problem when you start to fill your time with that void of watching videos instead of just going out and creating. And so that's my personal example, but whatever it is that you're trying to do and trying to create, apply that to your life, whether that's your goals for this year, your resolutions, whatever you want to change and evolve to better your life. Make sure that whatever resource that you're using, it can be effective, but overusing it as a void or a distraction is a form of procrastination. And I think the key to overcoming that is just to be intentional and be aware of when you are using it. Because with all the time that you're using to consume, that also could be used, that time could be used to create. And I think that when you put it in that mindset, then you'll be very mindful of when you're consuming things for motivation. You can take notes and to better your work or to rewatch a lot of your things and to use that to critique yourself. However, you need to spend the time to create as well. I think I just realized that isolating myself and taking moments to have a break and just to be alone with my own thoughts kind of sparked some of my best ideas and some of my best pieces of work. And I think that I'm most inspired just by practicing creativity. I would sometimes be in my room and I'd listen to music and I could envision like different video sequences, and so I'd jot down notes. Or sometimes I would just be lost in a thought and I'd have a random thought or an idea and I just jot it down. And I think over time I was able to develop certain layouts and things like that just from whatever came to mind, whatever I was doing on the day-to-day. So whether you have writer's block or any sort of mind block that is stopping you from being creative, I think that the key to creativity is just to be open to it. I'm not so sure it can be directly taken or found in someone else. And I think that's the key lesson there, that despite everything of the constant search for creativity, I don't think that it's necessarily something as easy or as tangible as that. I think creativity, simply said, is found in repetition over and over again, just practicing. They say that mastery is simply repetition. Like you can start from nothing, start as an apprentice from a novice level, and just doing something every day, little by little, at a crawl, is really how you develop creativity. It becomes second nature. But I think that putting all that pressure onto one thing, or giving yourself a lot of overwhelm to get things done, or constantly searching out mastery when you are in the beginning level, can make you a little bit anxious into doing nothing at all. And there are no hacks to being creative, I suppose. There's no shortcuts. But I do think that there are spaces that can trigger that within you. For me, I enjoy a nice quiet space, maybe the sound of rain. I like to be creative when I'm drinking my cup of coffee in the morning. I think that's when I'm in a really calm state. Some people, it's walking in nature. Whatever that is for you, you need to figure that out and be in that space where you can think and spark that creativity within you. So if you struggle with creative overwhelm and overstimulation, challenge yourself to be intentional with what you're consuming. Be mindful of social media and everything around you, and take breaks. And lastly, be a part of the creative process. No more watching from the sidelines. I hope this video inspired you and will encourage you to go out and do whatever it is that you were meant to do today. I hope you have a good day. If you got any value from this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up or share it with a friend, or maybe consider subscribing. That really helps to support this channel. But without further ado, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.